Well, hello once again, folks. This is another awesome episode of Customizing the Clone Wars. This is episode 26 for all you clone fanatics out there. And I am your host, as usual, Peak-OB1 Customizer. Along with me, I have my co-hosts, the dynamic duo father and son, Darth Daddy and Elias. How are you guys doing tonight?
Hey!
We're doing okay. Tonight we're going to be covering Voyage of Temptation, which is a continuation of the Mandalore episodes.
Yep.
And this one's a pretty good one. There's a lot of good jokes going on between Anakin and Obi-Wan in regards to some of Obi-Wan's past, which add a little bit of comedy to what was a pretty dark episode in some ways.
Right. I think this is definitely befitting of Halloween Eve, right? Because it's definitely dark. You know, it starts. Dave Filoni had said that he wanted this giant ship, the Coronet, to be like the Titanic. So it's all opulent upstairs, and down in the basement or the cargo areas, it's all dark and low lit and everything, and the lighting is off, and even R2's like playing jokes and whatnot. So we are going to get into that, and like I said, it's kind of spooky, so it's perfect for tonight because night before Halloween, right? Yeah, cool. All right, well, let's get into this thing right off the bat. All right, here we go. It says, "Fear not for the future, weep not for the past." What do you think of that?
Live in the present.
Yeah, I think I definitely think Obi-Wan has some regrets here.
Yeah, he definitely, in his conversations with Anakin, when they start talking about not having attachments, I remember Obi-Wan at least using the word remorse when it comes to, getting rid of those attachments.
Yeah, for sure. So like we said, this is episode 26, and it's called Voyage of Temptation, and I usually read from the episode guide, which I will do. It says, Duchess Satine travels on the Coronet to Coruscant. With 4 senators, she hopes to talk into joining her peace process. Obi-Wan and Anakin accompany her as bodyguards. When Anakin discovers there is a traitor on board, the Jedi must figure out which senator is seeking to dispose of Satine and bring Mandalore into the Separatist camp. Don't you feel like Mandalore's kind of this hotbed of like power? There's often a power struggle, right?
Yeah. So what is she commanding? How many neutral systems? It was over 1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a role that has a lot of political power attached to it. So
yeah,
you can see why, if you're representing 1,000 different systems, why someone would maybe want to take over that role.
Yeah, I agree. And Visla's definitely trying to do that, isn't he?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Got a lot of influence, it seems.
Yeah. So here we see the Coronet taking off. What a cool ship that is. It's like this giant, I don't know, spike or something, but it looks very Mandalorian.
Yeah, it's like a big hanging spike. Looks kind of like Cloud City. I'm probably crazy.
Yeah, it kind of feels like, have you ever seen that movie, The Fifth Element? You know, you're going on Flossed in Paradise. Flossed in Paradise. But it's both, like Dave Filoni had said, he thought it should be like the Titanic, you know what I'm saying? Very opulent, up in the upper areas, because they are senators and important people. But down in the depths is where all of Anakin's troops are, right?
Dark and shadowy.
Yeah, right? And check it out. 327T is back. You see him there?
Yeah, we haven't seen him since with Luminara and Asajj
yeah, his
Ventress.
bad day at the office. He needed to recover from that for a while.
Yeah, but he made it, didn't he? He did make it, didn't he? Even though all the struggles and whatnot that went down, he made it. We see him again. So this is my custom of 327T. This is the first one that I thought I'd share tonight. I did him a while back. If you notice, he's of course made from that the droid that came with Aunt Beru, right?
Yep.
And the arms actually articulate. So I've shared this once before, but I just thought I'd share it again because I was like, hey, look, there's 327T. What is he doing there? I guess there's various droids throughout the whole episode and whatnot.
Man,
What's that?
What is it? 327T?
No, it's 327T. You know they don't like being called by their nickname.
He's at the office. First, his office blows up. Then he's got assassin probes in it.
Yeah.
He just can't win.
No, he can't win. At least he makes it out of these, doesn't he? He just constantly is in this thing. I think he gets shot down later in like season 5 or
yeah,
something.
it's a sad day.
Yeah. we won't tell the future.
The one bad day at the office, we never saw him again.
Yeah, we won't speak of the future. But here we have Obi-Wan and Anakin in kind of a role reversal. You see them going up the elevator to kind of talk to Satine, and it's very much like episode 2. You know, instead of Anakin all nervous, Obi-Wan is the nervous one because he already had an adventure with an old flame recently, and now he's bringing.
Yeah, they came in an elevator both times.
Yeah, right. And I like that. You know, that connection. I love when they do that kind of stuff. It's so cool. And throughout this whole show, he kind of tells of this story of how he met this woman. And I ultimately feel like this is the reason. This is what gave Anakin the okay to justify his choice with Padme, don't you think?
Well, I would say he already committed at that point. He was married.
Yeah,
it might have made him feel better about his decision for sure.
That's what I'm thinking. You know, maybe he just felt okay. Yeah,
and he almost felt like the way he was framing his comments.
Yeah.
By where Obi-Wan's saying how he met Satine and the little bit of adventure they have. You know, Anakin was trying to like put that spin on it by saying, "Oh, how romantic."
Right. And he even lies later on in the episode. He's just like, Master Yoda says there won't be any what's he say, connections or
the attachments are forbidden.
Yeah, attachments are forbidden.
I'm not guilty at all, and you're the one screwing up.
Yeah, he just totally terrible, Anakin. Terrible. Well, we will get back to the episode here. So they are going up the elevator, and they're going to meet with Satine, right? And here she is. If you're seeing that there, she is with her court, and these are some of the people, some of the senators that she would like to share in her vision of peace. Try to pull them away from the war. So it's kind of strange for Mandalore right now because, they're in between a rock and a hard spot where you got one part of Mandalore and they're trying to steal it for the Separatists, and the other part, they're trying to take people away from both the Separatists and the Republic and say, don't fight at all because this is ridiculous. I think Obi-Wan even says in this episode that one of the reasons they're pacifists is because they had a civil war of their own on Mandalore,
Which is pretty interesting. That makes you hope at some point Star Wars does some type of footage, or you hope it's a visual footage, especially if it's a story that could be that exciting, where it would be really nice to see that civil war on Mandalore in some way, shape, or form down the line.
Yeah. Mandalore is always an interesting place. So here we see the main court, and these are some of the separatists. And this is going to bring us to something we haven't done in a while. We're going to do a shout out tonight to one of our good buddies, Luke Sprywalker, and he had done a Uncle Anno on the Kandafar, which you can see to the right. And I'm going to have Darth Daddy share that for us now. And if you could talk about that a little bit, I can see that you're sharing it there. That's pretty rad.
This is Uncle Anno, and he goes by Anaconda Far. He is a Rhodian senator that had a close relationship with Padme Amidala. Pretty, like, I guess prior to her becoming a senator, I think she was friendly with her family. I think, did they say it was her father that they were friendly with, that he was friendly with?
That's right, yes.
Yeah. And for the custom, it looks like it was made from an Indiana Jones figure called Monkey Man. And
Yep.
that's where that purple robe and the arms come from. I'm not sure where the rest of it came from. The head looks like it might be off of that pod racer. Was it Pax Bonkick, or do you remember the name, Chad?
I believe that is just Greedo there. The
Is it
hands and the
Okay.
head, definitely. Yeah, because it was the same head. The head sculpt proper. You know what I'm saying? The head sculpt was the same. I don't think they changed it for that, but they definitely did a new deco on the Pax Bonkick guy. That's one that I don't have. It's a pretty cool, kind of a cool kit bash, if you ask me. But I think this is definitely Greedo here.
Okay.
But
I can't make out what's below the waist.
yeah, I'm not sure either. Yeah, he definitely made it so he had kind of those bigger pants. He has kind of these puffy pants on. Really strange.
Almost like MC Hammer pants.
Yeah, he definitely has Hammer pants on, man, for sure. For sure.
And this was made by a Star Wars customizer called Luke Sprywalker.
Yeah, and that is our shout out for today. We love to give shout outs whenever we can. People who really stand out in the customizing community. You know what I'm saying? So we will definitely be doing that whenever we can, and there will definitely be more as we go along. So we just thought we'd stop and share our good buddy Luke Sprywalker did that awesome custom. So here we see the rest of the court. You know, the people that she's trying to bring into this pacifist kind of ideal, and she's got some good ones. She has Orn Free-Taa there because he just went through the whole Ryloth arc, right?
Yep.
And then she has, what was Tal Merrick? Was he her assistant, like an aide of some sort?
I believe he was a senator for Rhodia as well.
Yeah, and he's even a prince, too. In this episode, Obi-Wan calls him Prince.
Oh.
He's a prince. So
I missed that.
Yeah.
Did I
did.
something?
Right.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so we will move it on here. They're just basically talking about her ideals and whatnot, and I sure can't wait to try to attempt this thing here. She's got that music thing on her head, you know.
Oh, yeah.
You can tell that's definitely one of those sheet music holders, you know, one of those classic ones. You know, the blue portion of it.
Yep.
You know what I'm talking
Looks
about?
like a giant harp.
Yeah. Now, I definitely want to work on this one at some point. Maybe this week. Who knows? But
Wow, that would be cool.
yeah. So she's talking about her ideals, and Obi-Wan and Anakin come in and they introduce themselves. Meanwhile, down in the basement, yeah, we get some of the creepiness.
We have the puppet master droid, and I will explain why it's called that later.
Yeah, for sure.
Like it's
For
really
sure.
dark.
Yeah, so it's definitely dark down there, so much so that they have to use their lighting. And we actually got a toy of this. It turns out there's assassin probes down there. And
Yeah, because one of our evil senators smuggled it there.
The only
That's
thing I
right.
didn't like about that toy
Mhm.
it shows later on in the episode that has a bunch of miniature assassin droids that come out of the top of the head. And when they released it as a toy, they only gave you 3. And I was fortunate where later on, I think Toys R Us had a sale and that battle pack was on clearance. And I ended up buying 2 more. So now I have 9 of those little things.
Oh,
that's
cool.
something I wish I had an injection caster, because that would be one of the first things that I would make a mold of, just so you can make like 100 of those things. Because I bet you everybody would want one.
There were more than 100. Those things.
They were all over the place. Yeah. So it turns out that this assassin probe, it's a giant spider. Basically, it's a robot spider, and it has all these little robot spiders inside its head, which is it's amazing.
But they only come out after it dies.
Right.
To die. I mean, that's the way it worked in the episode, but I don't know.
They only popped out after.
No, I know that's the way it happened in the episode, but I don't know if that's how the droid works, where it has to die for the little ones to be released. Like, say it's trying to make an assassination, and there's maybe an area where it wouldn't be able to fit through. Would it just say, "Oh well, can't do anything," or would it say, "I'm popping out these little droids that can still get through this and maybe take care of the job"?
You have a point.
It would seem like it would be a poor design if it only worked when when it released little ones when it died.
All right. That's definitely true. So here we see one of the guys, one of the more unique decos. And of course, if they have a unique deco or a name, what happens to them? They get killed, right?
And
I believe, this is Red Eye. And he gets killed. So we see, and this is where the scary portion comes in. Scary droids in the dark. It's like,
But it's a jump scare. Like, it's sudden.
Yeah. All the dark spotlights in the dark, in the shadows, right? So we realize there's a problem, and before we move on, like I said, Obi-Wan starts to unveil this story about Satine and how he knew her and everything, and Anakin's definitely intrigued. But before we go on, I wanted to show you this droid here. If you see it down in the corner there,
I wanted to make one of those coronet droids.
I'm loving this R2 unit down here. If you can see that, I'm just loving it. I find little droids and different characters every once in a while that I'm like, I never realized that was actually there, but he's really elaborate. Is
that the one that they released? It was kind of green, and they released a realistic version of it. First, there was a version. I think it was black when it came in a droid pack that Entertainment Earth had, and then later on, it was released in, I believe, in the Build-A-Droid collection, but it had a green deco instead. Like
this has kind of a dark green deco, but the feet are actually maroon. I don't have a good shot of the feet.
Okay, yeah, that's not the same droid then.
Yeah, he's really interesting. I just thought I'd show that. And here they're having dinner, and Satine is just bummed out. She just doesn't want to do it. And there's your Nuno legs again. Seems like it's the intergalactic chicken. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right. So they're all having their dinner, and we find out that he informs them that there's a problem. Yeah, it's so cool. I lightened this up quite a bit so you could see the assassin probe behind him. I just thought that was so cool. I guess
a weekend at Bernie's.
Yeah, Dave Filoni really wanted this to happen, And what's cool about it is he throws Red Eye at Anakin, or no, that's Mixer at this point. That is Mixer. That's not even Red Eye.
It took out a few.
Because
they were using those arms to impale people. The droid was using its arms to impale.
Oh man, yeah. And
I thought Red Eye was the one with the circle and the lines on his helmet.
No, Red Eye's the one with the first one that I showed you.
Okay.
This guy here, I can go back.
Okay, so I've been educating people.
Yeah, this guy is Mixer, the one with that's kind of a, and this is kind of our Easter egg right here. Where have we seen that little detail before. I don't have a picture with where it is, but we actually see it on Luke Skywalker's X-wing helmet. It's pretty rad.
Yeah, it is pretty cool.
Let me see this. What?
Yeah, it's actually
avalanche in the middle of the show.
Yeah.
I don't have time to pick it up, clean it up, and your mom's coming.
Yeah.
All right.
That's cool.
Well, so here we see
it's not more than just
the spider droids, and here is those droids that you're talking about, referring to. They pop out once they are killed. It's kind of the last defense. There's just a bunch of them too. There's just a ton of them.
They just keep on going and going and going.
Yeah. And this is going to lead to my exclusive reveal tonight. Anakin's trying to figure out where these assassin probes came from, and he finds the manifest droid, or the coronet manifest droid, or I'm just calling him the manifest droid tonight. And this is the guy I decided to make, because there's always room for more protocol droids, right?
Yeah.
All right. So here is my version of the manifest droid. What do you think of that?
That's pretty wizard.
Oh, cool. Yeah, and I was talking to somebody earlier, and they were asking me, how do you get kind of a metallic finish on there? And one of the things that I shared was that you basically use a silver paint with basically a light color. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like I got a pretty great result once I was able to achieve what I did. And there's another shot. He's kind of got a little deco over here on his shoulder, if you can see that. Am I still posting? There.
Oh yeah. Now, do you ever go like after you mix those two paint colors together, like that light color and that silver together?
Yeah.
Do you later on dry brush in a little bit of silver on the raised areas to make it pop?
Yeah. Yeah, if you can see that there, like on the collar, I just basically did some silver, just some straight silver on his face, and like kind of in the corner, you know, on the edges, basically, of his eye slits there, and then on his dome ring, I basically used just straight silver and varying degrees of silver. One of the ways you can do this is if you just basically mix a lighter silver with a color to achieve your goal. You know, we're never really going to get the what do they call the back metallized look, basically, because it's a whole different process. You know what I'm saying?
And supposedly it's extremely destructive for the environment that the figures are created in, where they're manufactured. So as much as they looked great when we got them back, in the past,
yeah,
it's probably not the best method for creating figures going forward if we want a healthy planet.
Yeah, I'm sure that's just an excuse.
No,
I'm joking. I'm joking, of course. I'm completely joking. I'm completely joking. I just gotta always I gotta always stir the pot, don't I? Right? Yeah. So there's my reveal tonight. I just thought I'd share kind of a repaint on a protocol droid. You know, there's all kinds of different ways of doing different things. So there we have it. All right, let's finish this baby out, shall we? So here we have my manifest droid, and we get back to Anakin trying to take care of these things, because it turns out there's like 2 or 3 of them. Was there just 2 of these assassin spiders?
I remember they did destroy one. How many did they destroy down in the lower levels? Because there was one that made it upstairs, up the elevator shaft.
I think there was 3 for sure. But
yeah, I think you might be right.
Yeah, once again, we're in the horror story here, and this thing comes out of nowhere, and it goes right for Rex. And look at Rex, man, almost buying it again. This guy has 9 lives, right? He is constantly getting attacked, and So Anakin comes rolling to his rescue, and this is kind of one of the cooler things. Not really an Easter egg, but this is one of those oh my goodness moments for me. I do this in episodes when cool things happen. Anakin actually throws his lightsaber to kill this thing. Do you remember that?
Yep.
Oh man, so cool! If you're seeing these images, he just throws his lightsaber. Oh man, and it's great. And the cool thing about it is, he is brilliant enough. If you see this, where my arrow is right here, that's actually his lightsaber, and he turned it off before it even came back to him. It's brilliant.
That's so wizard.
Yeah, it is wizard. It's absolutely wizard. Yeah, he's an awesome Jedi. And that was one of those things I just really enjoy. So here we have another missed opportunity, a holographic Previsla in his Mando gear. I wish they would have done that. How cool would that have been?
Oh, that would have been really cool.
Yeah, he basically tells Tal Merrick, and we find out, by the way, that Tal Merrick has kidnapped Satine because he is the culprit.
He's the one who packed those assassin droids in the crates.
Right, and so he basically pulls her out of the main audience room and heads for the control room, the steering. What's that called? The aft section.
The bridge.
Yeah,
The bridge. Thank you. Yeah. So all the while, Previsla basically says, "We have help on the way," and then those spikes come down, and the boarding ships, and they bring super battle droids. So they have to defend the ship. All the while, Obi-Wan goes hunting down Tal Merrick. And we learned something very, very interesting at this point. We learned that she always loved him. And that was pretty impressive, if I do say so myself.
Which was even more impressive was when Obi-Wan confessed that, had you said the word, I would have left the Jedi Order for you.
Right. This was one of those oh my goodness moments, because Anakin's not there yet. He's almost there. He's almost made it to where they're at, but he didn't get to hear this.
Yeah, it's a good thing for Obi-Wan, because Anakin would have never let him live that down had he heard it.
Right, and I think it would have made Anakin a little worse too.
Yeah,
I think this moment. Yeah, I think this moment ultimately affected Anakin just a little bit more. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I do. I think it definitely justified his attachments.
Yeah, it really did. It really did. And I love how they did that, man. And there was even a funny part. I mean, Anakin was so intrigued. What's that?
Let's say your girlfriend. He's like, all right, Anakin, she's not my. And then he just pretty much stops because Anakin's already far away. It's like, you know what?
He already got me.
Yeah, not only that.
I've already been roasted.
Yeah, not only that, but he even asks him if he was basically, he was intimate with her. And he's like, well, that doesn't have anything to do with this.
Yeah, which is like a yes.
Basically a yes. He was confessing his guilt. But yeah, it was a touching moment. It was definitely awesome. And they get caught in a crossfire because Tal Merrick basically says, if you do this, she's not going to think much of you if you try to kill me, but I'm going to blow this whole shit up.
Prove themselves the cold-blooded killer.
And of course, it's Anakin, right? It's Anakin. So Anakin comes and saves the day, and you see Anakin's blade come up through Tal Merrick, and there's Anakin. Anakin's the man in this episode. He really is.
Oh yeah, he's like, what? He was going to blow up the ship.
Exactly. He's just awesome in this episode. Very cool. Very cool.
The best one-liners. He's like, yeah. This is a great Anakin episode.
Right. So they save the day, or Anakin saves the day, and they find out a truth about each other, both Satine and Obi-Wan. And I wonder sometimes if they go and they make these future movies that Disney is starting to do, if they're going to maybe even go along with this whole Obi-Wan's lineage kind of thing.
Yeah.
I wonder. And there's a really nice picture of the coronet heading towards Coruscant. Yep.
What do you guys think? Do you think if the Clone Wars wasn't going on and that confession had taken place, do you think Obi-Wan would have left the Jedi Order at that moment if he wasn't needed to spend the rest of his life with Satine?
I'll let Elias go first. What do you think, Elias?
Oh, I don't know. I think he might have left the Order due to words of Satine later in the show in a very significant episode, but I'm not going to speak of that until we reach that Satine episode because it's a crazy one.
I think
it involves Darth Maul.
Yeah, I think for me, honestly.
Also, go back to the other screen share, the coronet.
Okay. I think for me, honestly, I would say that no, he wouldn't, or because she wouldn't allow him to leave, because she's even worse than Padme is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She's worse than Padme is because she looks at him and she goes, "Oh, I still have this world to run. So I don't have time for this love thing. I just wanted to tell you that because I was going to die," kind of thing. So I think she caught herself in a moment where she was like
vulnerable.
Yeah, I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have said that kind of thing. But that's my opinion.
Yeah.
What do you think? You think she would, or he would leave? You think he would?
Depends how much further the conversation went. If they kept cutting the conversation short, he probably wouldn't have left. If they actually took some time to really talk things over at length, I'm not sure. It would be more likely, I think. Because whenever they did start talking about it more at length, more was always revealed about both their feelings. And it seemed like his feelings hadn't changed much either from what we got. He had that sense of duty and responsibility, but even though he had that sense of duty and responsibility, he had a strong affection for her.
That makes sense. I think they would just run into that same thing, that whole duty first kind of thing.
Which is unfortunate.
Yeah. But to our last custom of the night, so they land on Coruscant, and the ship docks and everything, and who's waiting for them but Palpatine. Yep, our good buddy Palpatine. I'm still shocked they didn't make this guy. And this is one of your customs. I would hope you'd share with us. That's so cool. I just love it. And just briefly explain the process again that we kind of discovered about this guy.
To make this, I showed him in, I guess, when we were covering season 1 of the Clone Wars in prior episodes. This is the first time we're showing him for since we started covering season 2. Essentially, it's the Revenge of the Sith version of Palpatine. It was the realistic version. To create him, I ended up resculpting the arms on that figure.
Yeah.
I ended up using Anakin hands from the Padawan Anakin that came in the vintage collection from episode 1. For the head, I ended up making a head cast from the head of this Clone Wars Darth Sidious figure. Underneath the hood, there's pretty much a full head sculpt underneath there. The only thing I needed to add to the head was the hair, and I also ended up making a mold of the neck of that figure, so that way I could make necks and heads whenever I desired.
For sure. Yeah, that looks great. Yeah. It's hard to believe they didn't make that guy. I think that was such a needed character. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that was a missed opportunity for sure.
Yeah. Of all the things they made, and they didn't make it. But he basically says, "Good job." You know, basically tells them, "You did your job."
Pat on the shoulder.
What's that? What's that?
Like, you saved the world. I'll give you a pat on the shoulder.
Yeah. And here's the group coming down behind them. It's a nice shot. You got Kin Rob there, and then you got Orn Frita's entourage. I swear those Twi'leks look naked.
They look a lot like the one that came in. Remember Watto's box?
Yes. Yep.
They're basically a representation of that Watto's box Twi'lek that had come in that battle pack.
And then there was the one in episode 2, right? She had an orange outfit on.
Yeah, the one from the Cantina, the nightclub.
Yeah.
Coruscant.
The Outlander Club. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. So he has his Twi'leks with him, and then there's Anda Kanafar, of course, with his hammer pants on. Love that.
Now the senator on the left, is her name Fenrau? Keenram, okay.
Kid Rock. Yeah.
Fenrau is the guy from Rebels, the Mandalorian. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're making a figure of that too.
Names. Okay.
That's going to be cool. Yeah. But
I almost feel like Palpatine probably wasn't happy that things developed the way that they did on the Coronet, because ultimately, had Satine died, he potentially could have had more influence on those other 1,000 systems that had remained neutral.
Yep.
And he could have broke that neutrality and expanded his empire even further than he had originally.
Yeah, he was the ultimate puppet master, constantly working angles and whatnot.
This is probably one of the situations where things didn't really work out to his advantage and, didn't jive as well as he had planned.
Yeah. What I always thought was funny, I know you said you're not really into the micro series, but it seemed like the Palpatine or the Sidious that was in those cartoons had one vision in mind. He was trying to kill off Anakin, or basically see if he would, could show his worth. And I would constantly look at this episode, this whole series, this Clone Wars series, as a further test to kind of test Anakin's worth, and
oh, very much so. It's funny. I just started reading Revenge of the Sith.
Mm-hmm.
The novel version of that.
Sure. Man,
there's so much more perspective given in that book about Anakin's thoughts, Palpatine's thoughts, Dooku's thoughts. I mean, it's almost like you're getting so much bonus content just by reading the novel version of that book. It's great.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I
have read that?
No, I didn't read the Revenge of the Sith one.
I highly recommend that to everybody watching, because it really gives you a lot more perspective on what's going on in Anakin's head throughout that entire movie that is pretty much absent as you're watching it.
Very cool. Very cool. Awesome. Well, that is our episode, folks. Kind of a quick one tonight. Thank you for joining us. If you want to get in touch with me or check me out, I am on Facebook at Peak-OB1 Custom Creations and Clone Wars Custom Action Figures. Plus, I have an Instagram page, which is called Peak-OB1 Custom Figures. And where can we find you?
You can find me at the Customs for the Kid blog. It's www.customsforthekid.blogspot.com. From there, you can get our action figure index, Facebook links, YouTube channel, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, and Google+, as well as Pinterest, which I need to update. It's been a while since I've updated that. But yeah, that's basically where you can get all the information. I just recommend going to the blog, and that's where you're going to see most everything.
Yeah, and recently you posted your awesome video too over there, your Clone Wars video of your entire collection, and I just think that's amazing. Oh, yeah. Yeah, looks good. Yeah, check that out, folks. It's really cool video of kind of a compilation of your custom figures and just everything from the entire collection, right?
Yeah, it has your stuff in there that's present in our collection. Some work from Wraith 9. I Am Boba Fett. Yeah, pretty much there's a few artists that are featured in that video, and yeah, it's a cool collection. That's probably my favorite part of the whole collection.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, awesome. Have a great night, and we will see you soon.
May the Force be with you.
Peace.